Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly, while others work harder every day yet remain stuck in the same cycle of struggle? It's not luck and it's not fate. It's the power of the mind. Your mind is the single most valuable asset you will ever own, and how you train it will decide whether you live a life of scarcity or a life of abundance. Right now, as you listen to this, you carry inside you the seeds of unlimited wealth waiting to be activated. But most people never realize this truth because they've been conditioned to believe that money is scarce, that opportunities are limited, that success belongs only to the lucky few. That belief system becomes a cage, locking them into fear and doubt, keeping them blind to the possibilities that are already within their reach. The first step to breaking free is to challenge that conditioning. Ask yourself, what stories have you been told about money? What silent rules have you accepted without question? Maybe you've been told that rich people are greedy, that money is hard to earn, that financial success isn't for people like you. These beliefs do more than limit your bank account. They limit your vision, your decisions, and your courage. The truth is, wealth is not about luck or background. It is about alignment. It is about training your mind to see abundance where others see limits, to act with confidence where others hesitate, and to focus on growth when others only focus on survival. Imagine for a moment how different your life could look if you truly believed there were no limits to what you could create. Imagine the freedom of not worrying about bills, of providing for the people you love, of waking up with a sense of control over your destiny. That life is not just a dream. It begins with the decision to master your thoughts. Because wealth does not start in your hands, it starts in your mind. Every great achievement, every financial breakthrough, every story of transformation begins with a shift in thinking, a decision to no longer accept the limits the world tries to place on you. But here's the secret. The mind does not automatically focus on wealth. By default, it clings to fear, to doubt, to patterns that feel safe. To train your mind is to reprogram those patterns, to replace fear with faith, scarcity with abundance, hesitation with bold action. This is not about chasing money. It is about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts money, opportunities, and success because of the energy you radiate, the decisions you make, and the confidence you carry. Stay with me, because as we go deeper, you will discover powerful principles that can reshape the way you think forever. Each idea you take in will strengthen your ability to focus, to believe, and to act in ways that align you with wealth. By the end, you will not just understand how to attract unlimited wealth, you will feel it in your core. You will realize that you are far more powerful than you've been taught to believe, and that wealth is not something outside of you, but something you create from within. This journey is not just about money. It is about freedom, confidence, and becoming the highest version of yourself. If you commit to listening with an open mind, what you are about to hear could become the turning point of your entire life. Wealth begins with awareness, and awareness begins with the thoughts you choose to entertain every single day. Most people underestimate just how much their inner dialogue shapes their reality. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant will grow. If you constantly plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, then scarcity will bloom in your life. If you deliberately plant seeds of belief, vision, and courage, then abundance begins to unfold in ways that feel almost inevitable. The challenge is that your mind has been repeating the same stories for years, and those stories feel comfortable even when they hurt you. To attract wealth, you must interrupt those patterns and create a new mental environment where abundance can thrive. Every thought carries energy. Science shows us that repeated thoughts form strong neural pathways, creating habits of thinking that either open doors or close them. When you constantly tell yourself that money is hard to make, your brain scans the world for proof of that belief. It filters opportunities through the lens of scarcity, ignoring possibilities that don't fit your story. But when you begin training your mind to expect abundance, the brain adapts. It starts to notice opportunities you once overlooked. It sharpens your decision-making and it fuels you with motivation to act. This is not magic, it is psychology. What you repeatedly tell yourself, you eventually believe. And what you believe, you act upon. Ask yourself, what thoughts dominate your days? Do you dwell on what you lack, or do you focus on what you can create? Do you allow fear of failure to silence your actions, or do you use that fear as fuel to move forward? The wealth you desire is waiting on the other side of these questions. Your job is to take control of your mental narrative, to break free from the autopilot of doubt, and to consciously program your mind with the language of abundance. This is why affirmations, visualization, and intentional focus are so powerful. They are not empty rituals. They are mental training sessions. Each time you affirm your worth, you weaken the old belief that you are not enough. Each time you visualize yourself succeeding, you give your mind a roadmap of what to pursue. Each time you shift your focus from problems to possibilities, you train your brain to look for solutions instead of obstacles. Over time, these practices reshape your mental landscape, turning scarcity into abundance, hesitation into confidence, and uncertainty into unstoppable drive. Think about how athletes train their bodies for performance. They repeat the same movements until those movements become instinct. The same is true for wealth. You must train your mind till abundance thinking becomes instinct, until opportunity recognition becomes automatic, until courage feels more natural than fear. This is not a single moment of change. It is a practice, a discipline, a commitment to becoming someone whose thoughts are aligned with prosperity. And here's the reward for doing this work. When your mind is trained to expect wealth, your actions begin to follow. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You pursue ideas that once scared you. You connect with people who open new doors. You stop chasing and start attracting. The world responds to your energy. And when your energy radiates abundance, opportunities seem to find you. That is when wealth shifts from being something distant and rare to something natural and constant. That is when you realize that unlimited wealth was never outside of you. It was always waiting for you to claim it by mastering your mind. The mind you carry today is the result of years of repetition, habits, and environments. Every belief you hold about money, success, and possibility has been shaped by what you've seen, heard, and experienced. If you were surrounded by scarcity, you may have absorbed the idea that wealth is unreachable. If you witnessed fear around money, you may have unconsciously built the same fear into your own life. But here is the liberating truth. You are not bound to repeat the past. The brain is not fixed. It is flexible, adaptable, and capable of transformation at any age. When you choose new thoughts, when you practice new beliefs, when you surround yourself with a new environment, you rewire the very circuits of your mind. You are not a prisoner of your old conditioning. You are the architect of your future reality. To train your mind for wealth, you must decide to take full responsibility for what you allow inside it. Every piece of information you consume is a building block. Every conversation you engage in is a seed. Every image you focus on becomes a blueprint. If you constantly feed yourself negativity, fear, and scarcity, then no matter how much you want wealth, your subconscious will resist it. But if you immerse yourself in growth, knowledge, and possibility, then you are programming yourself to align with prosperity. This is why successful people guard their minds with intention. They do not leave their inner world to chance. They decide what influences they will absorb and which ones they will reject, because they understand that what enters the mind shapes what exits into reality. Think about the difference between someone who spends hours consuming distractions, gossip, and fear, and someone who spends those same hours reading, learning, visualizing, and planning. Both people live in the same world, but their inner realities are worlds apart. One trains the mind to shrink. The other trains the mind to expand. Which one do you want to be? The choice is yours, and every choice you make builds momentum in one direction or the other. This is why clarity matters. If you want to attract unlimited wealth, you must be clear about what wealth means to you. Vague desires produce vague results. Specific visions create specific outcomes. Ask yourself, what does unlimited wealth look like in your life? Is it freedom from debt, the ability to travel, the power to invest, or the capacity to give generously? Define it clearly, because your mind needs a target. Without a target, your thoughts scatter. With a target, your thoughts focus. And focus is the weapon that cuts through distraction and directs you toward action. And once clarity is set, repetition must follow. You cannot plant a seed once and expect a harvest. You must nurture it daily. Speak your vision out loud. Write it down. See it in your imagination. Remind yourself that it is possible, even when doubts whisper otherwise. This is not self-deception. It is self-direction. It is the deliberate act of choosing your thoughts instead of allowing your old conditioning to choose for you. Over time, what once felt forced will feel natural. The new belief will become stronger than the old one. The new identity will replace the old story. That is the power of mental training. When your mind is aligned with clarity, repetition, and focus, you no longer chase wealth in desperation. Instead, you embody the mindset of someone who already deserves it, someone who expects it, someone who naturally attracts it. And from that place, your actions, your energy, and your results begin to transform. Wealth stops being something you wish for and becomes something you live into, step by step, thought by thought, decision by decision. When you begin to think like someone who is already wealthy, your entire perception of the world shifts. What once looked like obstacles now begins to reveal itself as opportunities. The same circumstances that keep one person trapped in struggle can become the very platform another person uses to rise. The difference is not the external situation. It is the internal lens through which you view it. This is why mindset is everything. Wealth is attracted to clarity, confidence, and courage. Scarcity is attracted to confusion, doubt, and fear. You get to decide which force governs your life by the way you train your mind to respond to every challenge you face. The truth is that life will always present difficulties. There will be setbacks, disappointments, and moments that test your strength. But the way you interpret those moments determines the direction of your future. A mind trained in scarcity will see failure as proof of limitation and will shrink back into fear. A mind trained in abundance will see failure as feedback, a signal pointing toward growth, and will rise stronger. Both minds experience the same event, but only one transforms it into wealth. That is the power you hold to decide whether your challenges become excuses or stepping stones. Every time you choose to reframe struggle as an opportunity, you rewire your brain to associate growth with discomfort rather than fear. Psychologists call this cognitive reframing, and is one of the most powerful tools for mental transformation. Instead of telling yourself, this is too hard, you train your mind to say, this is shaping me into the person who can handle more. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, you train yourself to ask, how can I create the resources to make this possible? That simple shift opens doors your old patterns kept locked. Wealth follows those who refuse to see limits. It follows those who practice resilience until it becomes their nature. And resilience is not something you are born with, it is something you build. Every decision to persist, every choice to rise instead of retreat, strengthens the muscle of your mind. The stronger that muscle becomes, the more unstoppable you feel. And when you feel unstoppable, you act in ways that produce unstoppable results. That is how ordinary people create extraordinary wealth. Not because they never face setbacks, but because they never let setbacks define them. When you internalize this truth, your energy changes. You stop approaching wealth with desperation, hoping it will fill the emptiness you feel. Instead, you begin to attract it because you are already whole, already confident, already aligned with growth. Money becomes a tool, not a master. Opportunity becomes a partner, not a mystery. And with each step forward, your belief grows stronger. The world around you responds to that belief. People sense your confidence. Doors that once felt closed begin to open. Possibilities multiply. This is not about denying reality. It's about choosing which reality you will amplify. You can amplify lack, or you can amplify abundance. You can amplify fear, or you can amplify courage. Whatever you feed grows. If you consistently feed your mind the belief that you are capable, worthy, and prepared to attract wealth, that belief will expand until it becomes your natural state. And when it becomes your natural state, wealth becomes your natural result. The outside world mirrors the inside world, and the wealth you desire is nothing more than the reflection of a mind trained to believe it deserves nothing less. The deeper you go into training your mind, the more you realize that wealth is not just about numbers in a bank account. It is about identity. You cannot consistently create results that are out of alignment with how you see yourself. If, deep inside, you still view yourself as someone who struggles, someone who never gets ahead, someone who is undeserving, then no matter how hard you work, you will sabotage your progress. Your identity sets the ceiling on your success, and that ceiling will not rise until you raise the way you define yourself. This is why true wealth creation begins by reshaping the self-image you carry every day. Every word you speak to yourself is a declaration of who you are becoming. If you say, I'm not good with money, your subconscious takes that as truth and delivers proof. If you tell yourself, I'm always struggling, your mind ensures that pattern repeats. When you begin declaring, I am capable of creating wealth, I deserve abundance, I attract opportunities that align with my vision, you are not just reciting words, you are instructing your mind to build a new identity. That identity then guides your thoughts, shapes your decisions, and directs your actions until wealth becomes the natural result. The brain does not argue with repetition. Whatever you repeat with enough emotion becomes your truth. This is why the richest form of transformation is not found in external effort, but in internal programming. When you shift your identity, your habits shift with it. When you believe you are someone who attracts wealth, you no longer hesitate to take action. You no longer doubt your worth. You no longer shrink back when opportunities appear. You step into them with the confidence of someone who knows this is who they are meant to be. Ask yourself honestly, who are you becoming through your daily thoughts? Are you reinforcing the identity of scarcity, or are you building the identity of abundance? Every decision is casting a vote for the type of person you are training yourself to be. Each time you choose faith over fear, clarity over confusion, persistence over retreat, you are sculpting the identity of a wealthy mind. That identity will eventually become unshakable, and once it does, the results around you have no choice but to follow. This shift is powerful because it removes the inner conflict that blocks most people. When your identity is aligned with wealth, you stop fighting against yourself. Your mind, your beliefs, and your actions work together instead of pulling in opposite directions. That inner harmony creates momentum, and momentum creates results faster than effort alone ever could. Suddenly, opportunities that once felt overwhelming become manageable. Risks that once terrified you now feel like natural steps forward. Challenges that once drained you now fuel your growth. The alignment between your self-image and your vision removes resistance and opens the path to expansion. Wealth is not a destination you chase. It is an identity you embody. And the more you step into that identity, the more natural it feels. Confidence replaces doubt. Clarity replaces confusion. Abundance replaces fear. This is why the wealthiest people are not defined by their possessions, but by their mindset. They think differently. They believe differently. They act differently. And the difference begins with identity. When you decide to see yourself as a person of abundance, when you commit to living as though wealth is already within you, you ignite a force that nothing external can silence. That decision becomes the foundation of unlimited wealth, built from the inside out, unshakable, unstoppable, and inevitable. When you adopt the identity of someone who attracts wealth, the world around you begins to mirror that belief. But identity alone is not enough. It must be paired with action that reflects and reinforces it. Thoughts and beliefs ignite the spark, but consistent action builds the fire. Without aligned action, your vision remains only a dream. The key is to train your mind so deeply in abundance that action flows naturally without hesitation, without fear, without second guessing. Wealth does not come to those who wait. It comes to those who act boldly and repeatedly, even in the face of uncertainty. Action is the bridge between your internal world and your external reality. Every time you take a step, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that you are serious about your vision. This proof strengthens your identity, which strengthens your confidence, which leads to bigger action. It becomes a cycle of growth, each movement forward fueling the next. The mistake many make is waiting until they feel ready. But readiness is an illusion. You become ready by moving, by stepping, by deciding that progress matters more than perfection. Your mind will always try to protect you by avoiding risk. It will whisper excuses. It will invent delays. It will highlight every possible failure. But a mind trained for wealth recognizes those voices for what they are. Defense mechanisms of the old self, trying to hold you in comfort. Comfort, however, is the enemy of growth. The path to unlimited wealth demands courage, and courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to move forward despite fear. Each time you act with courage, you rewire your brain to associate movement with growth, not danger. That shift in wiring is what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. Think of every action as a vote for the person you are becoming. Each bold step casts a vote for the identity of a creator, a visionary, a person who attracts and multiplies wealth. Each step backward into hesitation is a vote for the old identity of limitation. Your results are not determined by one choice, but by the accumulation of thousands of these daily votes. The more consistently you choose action aligned with abundance, the more unstoppable your momentum becomes. Momentum is one of the greatest forces you can build. Once it begins, it carries you forward with less resistance. The hardest step is the first, but once you take it, the second feels easier, and the third easier still. Over time, what once seemed impossible becomes natural. Opportunities that once felt out of reach now come to you because your energy and actions align so powerfully with them that they cannot ignore you. This is the magnetic effect of action. It draws resources, people, and circumstances into your path, reinforcing the belief that you are on the right track. Wealth is not built in giant leaps. It is built in consistent, intentional steps. Do not underestimate the power of small actions done daily. Each one compounds like drops of water carving through stone. Over time, the impossible bends to persistence. What others see as luck is simply the result of consistent action meeting aligned belief. This is the formula that transforms identity into reality. When your mind, your energy, and your actions move in unison, you become unstoppable. Wealth is no longer something you chase. It becomes the natural consequence of who you are and how you live. Consistency is the hidden engine behind every form of lasting wealth. It is not the grand gestures, the one-time bursts of energy, or the occasional moments of discipline that create abundance. It is the quiet, steady, deliberate actions repeated day after day, even when no one is watching, even when the results have not yet appeared. The human mind is naturally drawn to novelty, to excitement, to the rush of immediate progress, but true transformation requires something deeper, the ability to stay the course. Wealth is not a lottery ticket. It is a rhythm, a habit, a pattern carved into your life through relentless consistency. Your subconscious thrives on repetition. What you repeat becomes what you expect, and what you expect becomes what you create. Every time you follow through on a small commitment, you strengthen your identity as someone reliable, someone disciplined, someone worthy of success. Each broken commitment chips away at that identity, feeding doubt and reinforcing limitation. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. A single extreme effort cannot outlast the power of daily alignment. One act of discipline will not rewire your life, but 100 repeated over time will. The mind begins to trust itself, and when you trust yourself, you stop negotiating with excuses and start living in integrity with your vision. This kind of consistency requires clarity of purpose. If your vision is shallow, if your why is weak, your commitment will fade when challenges appear. But if your vision is clear, if your why burns deeply, then even on difficult days, you will find the strength to keep moving. The wealthy mind does not rely on temporary motivation. It is anchored in discipline, a discipline fueled by vision. This is why you must return again and again to the picture of your future. Keep it alive, keep it vivid, keep it burning in your imagination. That fire will carry you through moments when your feelings would otherwise betray you. The danger is that most people quit before momentum has time to reward them. They take a few steps, face resistance, and assume the process is not working. But resistance is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of growth. Muscles only grow when pushed against weight, and the mind only grows when challenged by resistance. Consistency is your proof to the universe that you are serious about wealth, that you will not abandon your vision at the first sign of difficulty. It is through showing up daily, through pushing forward regardless of emotion, that you create results that others mistake for luck. Each time you honor your commitment, you are building invisible compound interest in your life. Just as money grows through compounding, so does discipline, belief, and momentum. Small deposits of consistent effort accumulate into massive results over time. The wealth you see on the outside is always a reflection of this inner compounding. People who seem to rise overnight are only revealing what they have been building consistently in the shadows. That same principle applies to you. Every consistent action you take plants seeds that will eventually break the surface. Understand this? Consistency is not glamorous, but it is transformative. It may feel slow, but it is unstoppable. Each step reinforces your belief. Each act strengthens your identity. Each day of discipline moves you closer to the life you envision. When you embrace consistency, you no longer depend on fleeting bursts of inspiration. You are guided by conviction, anchored by purpose, and fueled by the knowledge that every day you stay aligned, you are training your mind to attract the wealth that is already waiting for you. The discipline of consistency becomes even more powerful when paired with the energy of focus. A scattered mind cannot build wealth because it spends its power chasing too many directions, never committing long enough to create results. Focus concentrates your energy, magnifies your actions, and turns ordinary effort into extraordinary progress. It is the ability to say no to distractions, to resist the endless pull of noise, and to channel your attention toward what truly matters. When your mind is trained to focus, every action you take becomes sharper, every decision becomes clearer, and every step forward carries more force. Distraction is one of the greatest thieves of wealth. Every moment you spend comparing yourself to others, indulging in doubt, or chasing quick fixes robs you of the energy that could be building your vision. The wealthy mind understands this and protects focus as a sacred resource. It knows that energy wasted on the irrelevant weakens the power to create the essential. Training your mind to attract unlimited wealth means disciplining your attention as much as your actions. You must decide daily where your energy will go and guard it fiercely, because what you give attention to expands. Focus is not just about what you do, it is also about what you refuse to do. It is the courage to eliminate distractions, the discipline to ignore noise, and the wisdom to direct your time only toward what multiplies your growth. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because their attention is scattered across too many pursuits. They never give themselves the chance to go deep enough in one direction to create mastery. But when you focus, when you give sustained attention to the vision of wealth, you accelerate results that would otherwise take years. The mind is like a lens. Unfocused, it diffuses light in every direction, barely warming what it touches. Focused, it becomes like a laser, capable of cutting through steel. That is the difference between a distracted mind and a disciplined one. Both hold potential, but only one directs that potential with intensity strong enough to transform reality. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you are sharpening your mental lens, increasing its power, and aligning it with the wealth you desire. Focus also creates clarity of decision. Without it, opportunities can feel overwhelming, leaving you paralyzed in uncertainty. But when you are clear on what you are building, decisions become simple. You know what aligns and what does not. You know what moves you closer and what pulls you further away. The noise of endless options fades, and the path forward reveals itself. This clarity reduces stress, eliminates hesitation, and allows you to act with conviction. And conviction is magnetic. People are drawn to those who know what they want and pursue it with certainty. The ability to focus is not natural in a world designed to steal your attention, but it is trainable. Each time you resist distraction, you build the muscle of discipline. Each time you redirect your energy toward your vision, you reinforce your identity as someone who values purpose over noise. Over time, focus becomes your default state. Wealth flows toward this state because it is not wasted on confusion or scattered energy. It is directed, amplified, and unstoppable. When your consistency is powered by focus, you move beyond mere effort into mastery. You become the kind of person who creates results with precision, speed, and inevitability. And that is when wealth begins to feel less like chance and more like destiny. Focus not only sharpens your path, it elevates the standard you hold for yourself. Wealth flows toward those who refuse to settle for mediocrity, those who demand excellence from their thoughts, their habits, and their actions. The way you do one thing reflects the way you do everything. If you allow yourself to be careless in the small details, that same carelessness will show up in the bigger opportunities. But when you train your mind to operate with excellence, even in the simplest tasks, you create a pattern of discipline and pride that attracts greater rewards. Excellence is magnetic. It signals to the world that you are ready for more, and the world responds by giving you more. Excellence is not perfection. Perfection paralyzes, but excellence liberates. Perfection waits until conditions are flawless, until every detail is guaranteed. And in that waiting, opportunity is lost. Excellence, however, is the decision to give your best with what you have now, to approach every moment as though it matters, to bring energy, care, and precision to everything you touch. That energy builds trust with yourself, with others, and with the universe. People sense when you operate with excellence. They notice the way you follow through, the way you keep your word, the way you bring value without being asked. That reputation opens doors that talent alone cannot. Excellence also raises your self-respect. Every time you deliver beyond average, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than most will attempt. That inner pride strengthens your confidence, and confidence fuels boldness. With boldness comes action. With action comes opportunity, and with opportunity comes wealth. The cycle begins within, with the decision to no longer accept average as your standard. Average attracts scarcity. Excellence attracts abundance. The difference is not external. It is the standard you hold yourself to when no one else is watching. This standard becomes a habit of thought. When faced with choices, the wealthy mind asks, what is the excellent choice here? What decision honors my vision at the highest level? By repeatedly choosing the path of excellence, you build a mental framework that rejects shortcuts and embraces growth. This does not mean life becomes easy. It means you are training yourself to rise higher in every situation, and that rise compounds over time into results that others call success. When you commit to excellence, distractions lose their power over you. Excuses sound weaker, procrastination feels heavier, and laziness no longer aligns with who you are. You begin to demand more from yourself because you recognize that your future is shaped by your present standards. The world cannot give you what you have not first demanded from yourself. If you settle for less, life gives you less. If you hold yourself to excellence, life mirrors that energy back to you. Wealth is not accidental. It gravitates toward those who carry themselves with discipline, focus, and excellence. These qualities signal that you are prepared, that you are trustworthy, that you are aligned with growth. They send out a vibration that attracts people, resources, and opportunities of the same frequency. When you choose excellence in thought, word, and action, you elevate not only what you create, but who you become. And who you become is the ultimate magnet for unlimited wealth. Excellence becomes unstoppable when it is paired with belief. You can take action, you can focus, you can work with discipline, but if deep inside you do not believe you deserve wealth, your results will always reflect that hidden doubt. Belief is the foundation of everything. It is the invisible force that shapes what you attempt, how you persist, and how much you allow yourself to receive. The wealth you attract will never rise higher than the level of belief you hold about yourself. If you believe you are limited, you will act in limited ways. If you believe you are destined for abundance, your thoughts and actions will expand to match that vision. Belief is not a passive state. It is a decision you reinforce every day. The human mind is constantly searching for evidence to confirm what it already believes. If you tell yourself wealth is out of reach, your brain will filter the world to prove you right. You will miss opportunities, dismiss ideas, and sabotage progress because those actions align with your belief. But when you declare that wealth is possible for you, your brain works just as hard to prove that belief true. It will notice doors you overlook, ideas will spark where none existed, and solutions will appear where once you only saw problems. This is not luck, it's the mind aligning reality with belief. To train your mind for wealth, you must take control of what you believe at the deepest level. This requires more than just words. It requires emotion, repetition, and evidence. You speak the belief daily, you visualize it vividly, and you act in alignment with it even before you see proof. Each time you follow through, you create evidence that strengthens the belief. Over time, that belief becomes unshakable. And when belief is unshakable, the energy you carry changes. People feel it, opportunities respond to it, and wealth gravitates toward it. Self-doubt will always try to challenge belief. The old identity will whisper that you are not ready, not capable, not worthy. But belief is built not by eliminating those voices, but by choosing not to obey them. You acknowledge the fear, yet you act anyway. You hear the doubt, yet you speak your vision louder. You feel the uncertainty, yet you step forward with conviction. Every time you do this, belief grows stronger than fear. The most powerful beliefs are those rooted in identity. When you no longer just believe you can achieve wealth, but believe you are the kind of person who naturally attracts it, the struggle ends. You stop trying to convince yourself because it becomes who you are. Your actions flow effortlessly from that state. You no longer ask, can I? You operate from I am. That shift changes everything. Wealth does not come to the strongest or even the smartest. It comes to those who believe deeply enough to act consistently in alignment with their vision. Belief is the soil in which all wealth grows. Without it, even the best strategies wither. With it, even imperfect actions compound into extraordinary results. When you choose to believe fully, without hesitation, without apology, you unlock the most powerful force within you. That force turns possibilities into realities, dreams into plans, and visions into wealth without limits. Belief becomes unstoppable when it is paired with clarity. Without clarity, belief can drift into confusion, scattered energy, or wasted effort. The mind needs a clear target, a vision sharp enough to guide thoughts, emotions, and actions. Wealth does not arrive by accident, it responds to precision. When you define with absolute clarity what wealth means to you, how much you desire, why you desire it, and what it will allow you to create, your mind begins to reorganize itself around that vision. Without clarity, energy leaks into distractions. With clarity, energy flows like a river, cutting through resistance until it reaches its destination. Most people remain trapped because they never ask themselves deeply what they truly want. They chase vague dreams of money or success, but the mind cannot commit to a blur. The brain's power is unlocked when the vision is exact. Neuroscience shows that a clearly defined goal activates the reticular activating system, the brain's filter that determines what information you notice and what you ignore. When your vision of wealth is specific, your brain starts detecting opportunities, connections, and pathways that once seemed invisible. This is not magic, it is focus. It is the power of a mind trained to see only what serves the vision and dismiss what does not. Clarity also builds emotional fire. A vague dream rarely inspires sustained action because it does not stir the heart. But when you can close your eyes and see in vivid detail, the life wealth will allow you to create. When you can feel it, smell it, taste it, and experience it in your imagination, your emotions attach to that vision. Emotion is what makes belief come alive. It transforms a thought into an obsession, a passing idea into a destiny. Without emotion, clarity remains intellectual. With emotion, clarity becomes unbreakable fuel. To train your mind for unlimited wealth, you must give yourself permission to dream specifically. How much wealth do you truly want? What will you do with it? What impact will it have on your family, your community, your legacy? What freedom will it buy? What experiences will it create? What meaning will it give? Do not settle for shallow answers. Go deeper, write it, speak it, repeat it until it becomes etched into your subconscious. The more precise the vision, the more magnetic your energy becomes. Clarity strips away excuses. When you know exactly what you are after, distractions lose their power. Temptations fade because they do not fit the picture. Clarity turns decisions from confusing into obvious. Every choice becomes simple. Does this align with the wealth I am creating, or does it take me away from it? If it aligns, you say yes with strength. If it does not, you say no without guilt. This is how clarity accelerates results. It cuts the noise and sharpens the signal. When clarity combines with belief, momentum becomes unstoppable. You are no longer wandering, no longer doubting, no longer chasing shadows. You are guided by a vision so sharp it pulls you forward. You begin to act with certainty, to think with purpose, to attract with power. And as that clarity deepens, the world cannot help but respond. Doors open, paths reveal themselves. Wealth gravitates toward you, not because you are lucky, but because your mind is trained to see only one destination, and everything else fades into the background. Clarity alone is not enough if the mind is still chained to old patterns of scarcity. Scarcity is the silent killer of dreams. It whispers that there is not enough, that opportunities are limited, that if someone else wins, you must lose. This mindset poisons clarity and weakens belief because it creates fear, and fear shrinks action. To attract unlimited wealth, you must train your mind to think in terms of abundance. Abundance is not blind optimism. It is a conscious decision to see the world as overflowing with possibility. It is the understanding that wealth is not a pie with only a few slices, but an ever-expanding field that grows with creativity, service, and vision. When you begin to see the world through abundance, everything changes. Opportunities you once ignored begin to appear because you no longer believe the door is locked. Your energy shifts because you are no longer acting from desperation, but from confidence. People feel that difference. They are drawn to it. Scarcity repels, abundance attracts. The wealth you seek cannot flow to a mind closed by fear, but it will naturally find its way to a mind open with abundance. Training abundance into your thoughts requires deliberate practice. The brain has been conditioned for years by scarcity messages from society, family, and past struggles. To rewire it, you must interrupt those patterns and replace them with new ones. Gratitude is one of the fastest tools to do this. When you consistently acknowledge what you already have, your brain is forced to recognize evidence of abundance in your life. This shifts focus away from lack and toward possibility. Over time, the habit of gratitude builds an internal environment where wealth feels natural, not foreign. Another way to train abundance is to celebrate the success of others. Scarcity makes you jealous, bitter, and competitive. Abundance makes you inspired, excited, and collaborative. When you see someone achieve wealth and you respond with admiration instead of resentment, you send a powerful signal to your subconscious. Wealth is available to all, and their win is proof that yours is coming. This eliminates envy and replaces it with motivation. It transforms the energy you project, and energy is everything. Abundance also frees you from desperation. When you believe resources are limited, you chase money with anxiety, and that energy drives it away. But when you operate from abundance, you pursue wealth with calm certainty. You do not cling, you create. You do not beg, you attract. You are no longer chasing wealth as if it is running from you. You are moving forward as if wealth is walking toward you. That shift in energy is magnetic. It makes you powerful, not needy. Scarcity locks you in survival. Abundance lifts you into creation. Survival is about protecting what little you think you have. Creation is about expanding into what is limitless. Survival drains energy. Creation multiplies it. Every wealthy person who sustains their wealth operates from this truth. They do not see limits, they see expansion. And the more they create, the more possibilities appear. When your mind truly accepts abundance, you stop asking if there is enough wealth for you. You know there is more than enough. You stop wondering if your dreams are too big. You realize dreams grow the moment you commit to them. You stop fearing what you might lose because you are certain of what you can create. In that state, wealth flows to you not as a struggle, but as a natural extension of who you are becoming. Abundance becomes real in your life when it is matched with action. Without action, abundance is only a thought, a philosophy that never leaves the realm of ideas. Wealth is never attracted by wishing or waiting. It responds to consistent, deliberate movement. The mind can believe, it can visualize, it can feel abundance, but the body must translate those inner states into real-world action. Every step you take tells the universe you are serious, that you are not just dreaming but committing. Wealth flows toward the ones who move, not the ones who sit still. Action has a powerful psychological effect. When you take even the smallest step toward your vision, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of progress. That feeling builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Confidence then fuels bigger actions, and bigger actions attract bigger results. This creates a loop that reinforces abundance because every result, no matter how small, becomes proof that wealth is possible. Without action, the loop never begins, and the mind drifts back into doubt. The mistake many people make is waiting to feel ready. They wait for the fear to vanish, for the perfect plan, for the ideal time, but readiness never comes before action. It comes because of action. Fear does not disappear in silence. It shrinks only when confronted. Clarity does not deepen in theory. It sharpens when tested in reality. Wealth does not wait for those who hesitate. It responds to those who move despite uncertainty. The truth is, hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever could. Every action, no matter how small, sends a signal. It says, I am in motion. I am building. I am stepping into wealth. You do not need to leap into massive risks to train your mind for abundance. You only need to move forward consistently. Each forward step conditions your subconscious to believe, this is who I am. I am a person who acts. I am a person who creates. I'm a person who attracts. Over time, this identity becomes unshakable, and wealth gravitates toward it. Action also separates you from the crowd. Most people talk, few act. Most people hope, few move. The world is filled with dreamers who never build, thinkers who never execute, planners who never start. Wealth is not attracted to potential, it is attracted to execution. The moment you take real steps toward your vision, you rise above the noise of wishful thinking. You enter a rare group of people who prove belief through action. And it is this group that wealth finds irresistible. Do not underestimate the compounding power of consistent action. One small step repeated daily becomes unstoppable. One focused habit practiced for years creates transformation. One courageous decision repeated until it becomes normal builds a life of abundance. Action compounds quietly at first, then explosively. The seeds you plant today may seem invisible tomorrow, but in time they grow roots, then branches, then fruit beyond measure. The key is to keep moving even when results are not immediate. Wealth is not built in a single leap, but through the quiet persistence of daily action. Action is proof. Proof to yourself, proof to your subconscious, proof to the world that your belief is real, your clarity is true, and your abundance is active. Every time you act, you close the gap between vision and reality. Every time you act, you invite wealth to step closer. And when action becomes your natural state, wealth no longer feels like something you chase. It feels like something inevitable. Action becomes unstoppable when it is fueled by discipline. Anyone can act when they feel motivated, but wealth is not built on fleeting emotions. Wealth is built on repeated choices, sustained effort, and unwavering consistency. Discipline is what carries you forward when the excitement fades. It is the invisible force that turns vision into habit, habit into character, and character into destiny. Without discipline, action collapses under pressure. With discipline, action becomes automatic, unstoppable, and inevitable. Discipline is not about perfection. It is about commitment. It is the decision to keep showing up even when results are not immediate, even when distractions tempt you, even when the voice in your head whispers to quit. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your identity as someone who cannot be broken. The wealth you desire is not a prize you stumble upon. It is the natural outcome of a disciplined mind that refuses to retreat. Psychology reveals that the brain craves patterns. What you repeat becomes who you are. When you discipline yourself to take actions that align with wealth, your brain begins to rewire itself. Neural pathways grow stronger, habits become ingrained, and behaviors that once felt difficult become effortless. This is how discipline transforms. It shifts effort into instinct. At first, discipline feels like struggle. Over time, it feels like freedom. Freedom from laziness, freedom from inconsistency, freedom from chaos. Discipline also builds trust with yourself. Trust is the foundation of self-confidence, and without self-confidence, wealth is fragile. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you send a message to your subconscious, I can rely on me. That inner trust is priceless. It eliminates hesitation because you no longer wonder if you will follow through. You know you will. And when you trust yourself fully, you project certainty into the world. Certainty attracts wealth because wealth flows to those who act with conviction. The disciplined mind also resists distraction. In a world filled with noise, temptation, and endless opportunities to waste time, discipline acts like a shield. It keeps your energy focused on what matters most. It reminds you that every wasted hour is wealth delayed, every broken routine is momentum lost. Discipline protects the fire of your vision by keeping it fed with consistent fuel. Without it, the flame flickers and dies. With it, the flame grows into an inferno that nothing can extinguish. Discipline is freedom disguised as restriction. To many, the word sounds like limitation, but in truth, it is liberation. It frees you from the prison of inconsistency. It frees you from the cycle of starting and stopping. It frees you from the endless frustration of knowing what you want, but never having the power to sustain the effort. Discipline creates order in your mind, structure in your life, and strength in your actions. And from that structure, wealth rises. When you embody discipline, you no longer need to wait for motivation. You no longer depend on mood or circumstance. You simply act. You act because it is who you are. You act because wealth is not a distant goal, but a daily practice. Discipline transforms every day into a brick you lay on the foundation of your future. Over time, those bricks become unshakable walls, a fortress of wealth built not on luck, but on unwavering commitment. And when you master discipline, wealth does not just become possible, it becomes certain.